And I have with me three panelists, Ben, Dr. Chris, and Alphonse. And I would like you to give a brief introduction about the community work you do and how you are involved before we actually, get a start to this. I've been actually doing these interviews on Ladies Corner for the last 4 or 5 years now. I've done a variety of interviews just in Canada. I've started all the way from my home country, India, and then moved through
Okay.
Iran, and then moved here to Canada. So I have been a journalist in different countries. And I totally enjoy these conversations because more than what like we give to the community, I learn a lot. I learn a lot from all of you experts, and I really enjoy those conversations. So, welcome to the studio, each of you. Finally, we can see Ahmed. Welcome, Ahmed.
Thank you,
Uh,
Mary.
so, can I start with Ben? Ben, can you give a brief introduction about what you do with the community?
I'm Ben, and most people know me as a teacher instructor. I work with young people from outside my regular job, work with young people to help them develop and sharpen their public speaking and communication skills. And especially with new migrants, things about preparing for interviews and understanding and acclimatizing to the Canadian environment. Lately, I've also paid a lot of attention and hosted Black History Month events, especially in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And this year, we were very pleased that we were able to reach, perhaps 2,000 students in the Lloydminster area. And it is in the effort of educating young people, helping them to understand how we got to where we've gotten to, and to form a stronger understanding of the challenges we face and how we could overcome them working together.
Thank you so much, Ben. You do so much for young people. That's awesome. The future of our nation. Let me speak to Alphonse. Can I have two lines about the work you do in the community, Alphonse? I know you are the executive director of FRAC. That's
Yeah.
all I know.
Yes. FRAP it's a settlement settlement service provider here in Edmonton, and we mostly do those services for francophone speaking newcomers. And we are here in Edmonton, but also in Fort McMurray, and we are coordinating the settlement in school for the prairies and the Northwest Territories.
Okay.
And but personally, I'm doing a lot in the community because not only am I involved in the many a lot of things in the community, but what I'm doing, I'm working with the University of Alberta to help the intake of Black students in the medical school. I'm also one of the member of the Premier Council on Multiculturalism, and so I'm doing some other things, but that's it
Very
for
interesting.
yeah.
You have hands in many pots.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the work you do in the community. Let me move to Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris is a management professional and he has held many leadership positions. He's on the board of different nonprofits. Can you take it from there, Dr. Chris?
Well, thank you. I think that's basically all of it. At the moment, I am very involved with the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton as a communications director. We also do work with Africa Center, and we collaborate on particularly ACB equity with Northwest College and Ribbon Ridge Foundation, on just being able to look into the space of how both health equity, education equity, and anti-racism, and also data collection and management for ACB people. Actually, ACB is African, Caribbean, and Black community. I prefer that phrase to using just Black because it does create some kind of inclusivity, in the whole process.
Right. Thank you so much for the work you do, Dr. Chris. Let's move to Ahmed Sani.
Okay.
Ahmed, I don't have your bio, so could you please share a little bit about your experience?
Okay. So I I am an IT management person. I have been in IT for almost 30 something years now.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last few years, I run my own IT service company,
Oh,
which
wonderful.
provides support, IT support to small and medium businesses and not for profits. Okay. And on the community side, I live in St. Albert, and I am the chair of the St. Albert Further Education, and what that group is responsible for ensuring people continue their education no matter where they stop, whether they are adult, they have to be adults, but we provide support and we do welcome center in St. Albert. It will be 50 years. That organization will be 50 years in St. Albert this year. So I am the chair of the board at the moment. I am also the vice chair of the Arts and Heritage Foundation here in St. Albert. That foundation takes care of all the museums, the historical centers, and everything in St. Albert. I am I am the chair of the board of trustees of the Nigerian Canadian Association of Edmonton.
Wow, that's a lot of hats.
Yeah,
He does quite a lot, actually.
I do also belong to what we call the Nigeria Leadership Circle, a group of all leaders. Dr. Chris is one of us, various leaders from different groups in Nigeria that we come together. So
It's a pleasure
that,
to have you. Thank you so much for that.
thank you.
Moving on to Jimmy, I actually can't see the face. Um, can you hear me, Jimmy? All right. I guess the person is not on board. He's just put on his camera and um, somewhere behind. So we'll wait till he's able to come. But our topic today is one that is very serious, and we have to all take it really seriously on how we put out a statement as a group which completely denounces this kind of stuff that is happening in our communities that affects each one of us, right? We cannot live. Breathe fresh air and be free without knowing that our families are safe in this community that we live in. So just let me go around the table again. Ben, when this incident happened, like how did you learn about it, and what was your reaction to this?
Well, the earliest place I saw it was on WhatsApp about Matheus Arcangelo, and a lot of people within the community who were connected to that family. And the videos very devastating, and the anger. And it's exactly a month today since the shooting happened. And it's it's terrible. We live in a world today where there are cameras everywhere, and it looks like the pace of the investigation doesn't match a lot of people's expectations. I mean, there's so much information, and then we have to wait for months and months and months, and I think it does a disservice to the community when these delays happen. And the family has shared a lot of very uncomfortable video, and we still have to wait. So yeah, I learned about it through WhatsApp and social media. And that's a very terrible way for family members near and far to hear about something that has happened to their loved one.
Thank you, Ben. Yes, it is very tragic. And I'm just not sure why the police doesn't give a statement on these things when these incidents happen. Like it surprises me. Why are they so lax about these things? Is it a racism thing? Is it because it was a black person, not as important as the mainstream community? Alphonse, would you like to address that? Could you like give us a brief about how you heard about this incident and what was your response? He's a very young person.
Yeah.
So, what was your response to this?
Yeah, I wasn't around when I heard it, when I saw it on WhatsApp, and I was shocked because, at a certain point, you tend to think that here in Canada, there is things that doesn't happen in Canada, but it keep happening.
Yeah.
And we always think like we are in a very different country where those things do not happen, but it happens here, and it happened again, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate, really. But I think for me, if there is not much that the police or the system is not doing around this, it's mostly, in my view, I might be wrong, but it's mostly in my view because it's a black person. It's a black person. Whatever you do, whatever you say, black person are not treated as other people. It's the same issue that the First Nation are facing. I was just reading a press conference where a journalist in Quebec was saying that when, for instance, a First Nation is missing in Quebec, nobody cares. But if one white man is missing in Quebec, all the police and all the helicopters and planes and military, everyone is out to try to save him. So it's the same for us, unfortunately. And I think that's what we really want to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, that's the reality. And it's something that is very hard to accept that in a country like Canada, where we all believe we are equal, we don't get equal treatment.
No.
Dr. Chris, moving to you, like, how did you hear about this incident and what was your response to it?
Um, Actually, it was multiple sources. I saw some kind of a news stream just mention it and then mention that and I clicked on it, went to read it, and it says, oh, the video shows that the guy was holding something in hand. They didn't know exactly what it was, and I wasn't satisfied. So I contacted every other leader in my community to say, have we heard about this? And then everybody, I immediately the outrage, was out there. And I think I had a mixture of emotions, all of them almost deadly at the same time, because I was outraged that, like Alphonse said, this is happening in Canada in 2024. But I was also outraged that this boy is 3 months younger than my second son, which means that this could have been my son. I was outraged that eventually, when I saw the 25 minutes video, that this was pure execution type murder, not that this boy did anything or made any step, or there was no violence, there was no challenge, there was nothing. The boy was just shaken by the accident he had all by himself that did not involve any other person. It just broke me. I was in the funeral, I was in the burial, of that young man, and I don't remember when last I cried publicly, but I think I cried for hours, that day, because there's just I can't make a sense out of it. I have to say, I just can't make a sense out of it. Now, I am more outraged today that the chief of police in Edmonton has said nothing. The mayor of Edmonton has said nothing. The council of Edmonton, the Edmonton City Council, has issued no statement. The Alberta Minister of Public Safety has said nothing. I even expect that by now the premier should be speaking to this matter. She has said nothing. Actually, everybody that should say something, that should do something, has done nothing and said nothing. Now, this has been handed over to ASAT, as I read in the papers, to investigate. We all know the history of ASAT investigation of Black people. It comes to nothing. No report, no reprimand, no punishment, no truth. And that's what really happens all the time. Now, I need to bring in here that in the actual sense, this was the second shooting of innocent Black young men within a space of 3 weeks. The other boy is still in the hospital. We don't know if he's going to survive or not. But another policewoman just the boy that was running to go and get into a bus to go to go and do his business, policewoman shot him 11 times. So I think that this is the time for every ACB person and every minority person, including, as Alphonse said, the indigenous people who have actually also been suffering the same thing with us for as long as history exists, to come together. Because if we don't start working on it right now, we will turn to another America soon.
Wow, that was a very powerful statement, Dr. Chris. Thank you for that. And you cannot fathom what the family is going through, despite the fact that all of us understand the experience. We really cannot fathom what the family is going through. One day their son was alive, and the next day, because of the police who's supposed to safeguard people like him, he's dead. So, what I heard when this was being reported was that he had a saw in his hand. I'm not sure what was the real incident. Would Ahmed be able to throw some light on whether he really had something that was dangerous in his hand?
No.
No, he did not. I watched the 25 minutes video too, and interestingly, the first time I heard about it was on the news, and they caught it so much. The presentation on the news was so caught that the only thing you saw was him paving down, and then the next thing it was down. When I watched the 25 minutes, that's when I saw the whole thing. And like Dr. Chris said, for me, it hit home. If you are a parent, particularly of a kid that's around that age or about that age, you would think that could be my kid, right? And when you watch that video, you want to wonder what exactly happened. Why did they shoot him? They could have tased him. In fact, when I watched it with my wife thought that he was tased, and it was just a taser, and it was just down. I said, no, that's not a taser. She shot at him,
4 times.
and when at that close range, every time I wonder when they shoot, can they shoot somewhere else apart from the head and the body? But
Exactly.
I'll tell you a very interesting story. And about the same time that this happened, two young white girls were stabbed in St. Albert, a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old,
Okay.
multiple times by a white guy. They took these two girls to the hospital and they started looking for this guy. Unfortunately, the 17-year-old girl died. When they arrested this guy, nothing happened to him. They just arrested him. And I wonder if anybody has been in an accident, you know how it is, particularly in a rollover. Your brain is dislocated. You are not yourself. And you could see that's why he was pacing up and down. Are the officers trained to understand, particularly when it's not holding anything? What we always hear is that somebody was putting their hands into their pocket. His hands were so visible. So I did not see any weapon because I watched the 25 minutes video. I
Mhm.
watched it from the beginning to the end, but I did not see anything, and it's sad. And more sad. And you know what? It's even hurting me more now I think it's Ben that said it. It's been a month. I did not even believe that it's a month.
It's a month today.
Yeah.
That even makes it sad that nobody has said anything. Nobody is bothered because what is a black person. But
Exactly.
we
So,
have to look inwards.
the Alberta Human Rights Commission, is there someone of any of your organizations have contacted them and tried to push this case?
No, I think there are a lot of things going on. Various groups are doing a lot of things, but I am not aware. Maybe Dr. Chris, you are aware
No,
of anything like that?
no, nobody has talked to Human Rights Commission yet, as far as I know, as of today. However, I know that a lot of communities are putting out statements condemning the shooting and the action, and also calling attention to the fact that the whatever investigation Assad is doing is all obviously heading in the same direction that every of their handling of Black people has headed in the past. And this is not, I mean, from the statements that I've read so far, I think that it's time that we are coming together. But the straight answer to your question is no. Nobody has had anything from the Human Rights Commission, and nobody has contacted them from the side that I am exposed to.
All right. So, is Jimmy available? Hello?
Uh,
Hello?
yes, I'm available.
Hi. Nice
Hi.
to have you on now, Jimmy. I'd like you to give us a two-line introduction about your community work and how you support Black people in Edmonton.
I don't have much to say, but I just want to say that this incident is under investigation. Even though I'm a community leader, this incident is left to the family lawyer. There's some conditions that are attached to that investigations that people should not be talking about it a lot because it may affect the investigation. I know about the incident from the very first minute.
Okay, please go ahead, share with us what you know.
What I know, I cannot say it right now, but what I know it from the time it happened to the time I'm talking to you right now. But we should not rush into conclusion to exactly what has happened. So right now, as I'm talking to you, I said this incident is being taken by Alberta police, is under investigations, and then I'm so grateful and so happy for all our brothers and sisters to come together in support of this family. We have to make sure that the same incident doesn't happen again.
And how can you make that? How can you make sure?
We are going to make that one without talking too much and acting less. We have to make sure that our action speak more louder than our words. It's not about the social media. It's not about what we are writing on social media. It's about coming together like what happened to George Floyd in US. We have to march peacefully, declaring everything that we have been a target. We have been discriminated everywhere, at work, on the street, everywhere.
So what you're suggesting is all the Black community leaders should get together and maybe sit in front of the police station.
Not necessarily we can go sit to the police stations. We can go to the government of Alberta. Where is the government of Alberta? The police station is a police station. We need the government of Alberta to understand that must must make sure that the police of Edmonton, of Calgary, of Medicine Hat, of whichever city is, that every single human being is treated equal.
Right, that is true. But it is not happening, right? That's not the reality. So we need them to give us a statement on how they're going to make that happen. Like, how can you make sure that no other Black young boy is going to be killed on the streets again? How are they going to do that? There has to be a protocol, and that is what needs to be demanded from the government or whatever. And I believe that all of you are in this
what's your name again, sister?
Part of this plan, and you are trying
Sister,
to
what's your name?
address this issue. Now I'm going to move to Ben. Do you think this is a good strategy, like marching towards the government and trying to ask them for an answer to this situation?
What's your name again?
Ben, you are mute. It's written on that thing. She's Mary. It's written there.
Oh, Mary.
Jimmy.
Listen, Mary.
Jimmy, I will give you your turn, but now I have to allow everybody else to get equal airtime. So I hope you won't mind coming back to you.
No. Let me say one thing, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Number one, it's not what we talk on social media. Number two, it is all African communities have to come together. It's not about social media. It's we come together, we unite. But this meeting like this, and then tomorrow we disappear, it's not happening. I've been a leader for the 5 years. I've been in Raleigh for two murders, two of South Sudanese community, youth killed here in Alberta. I never saw you. I never saw anyone here. The one here, I never saw them. So if we really need to bring justice to our people, we must exactly mean what we want to say.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's taking it.
We can talk like this. We can talk.
Jimmy, do you want to be part of this conversation, or do you want to allow everybody else to speak?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So Ben, we will move forward. What is the steps that you can take? He's talking about rallies. Do you think that's something that you all are interested to do? Because at this point, that would be a great idea, because it's too long to have not given any credence to this big event that has happened. And as Dr. Chris said, this is the second one. So that's just not pardonable. Like, you cannot allow this to just flow under the carpet. That's not allowed. So how are you going to tackle this as Black people in Edmonton?
Jimmy is an important member of the community, and he has a powerful voice. But I respectfully disagree with him in some areas. We can't talk about this issue. Of course we can. The investigation can also proceed. These two things can happen at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly.
The only thing is, if there's a future prosecution, those of us here, because we've been talking and expressing our views about it publicly, will not be able to be part of the jury pool. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But we can and should talk about it. Secondly, and I think this point for me is really important. Very terrible parts of society, things in this world do not just end overnight. Apartheid did not end because white people woke up one day and said, those Black people, we've had a change of heart. Let's begin to treat them nicely. Apartheid did not end because those with power suddenly decided we've had a change of heart.
No.
So apartheid ended because it became too expensive to continue. And racism and systemic racism will only end when it becomes very expensive
exactly
to keep it going. Look, lawyer lawyer Nam Okoye, respected lawyer in the community, recently he helped two of our brothers, Yusuf John and Caesar Judinga, to win a human rights complaint against the police for treating them very terribly. The police acting, obviously they were found guilty, they are appealing, but the facts of the matter are depressing. They were acting without due care, they were acting without consideration, and of course, the systemic racism was in full flow. Now, two important things. This happened in 2017. It has taken until a couple months ago to even get a resolution at the Alberta Human Rights Commission. 7 years of pain and anguish.
Wow.
7 years. And then the police get issued with a paltry 80,000 fine. But one important thing is the Human Rights Commission member, Erica Ringsize, they stopped short of ordering Edmonton Police Service to apologize because, in their words, and I quote, this apology, quote, would likely lack the sincerity needed to provide a benefit to the complainants.
Wow.
So, look, I think systemic racism is something we all know exists, and it ends when the cost of being racist becomes very expensive. And I want to see the Edmonton Police Service, and the same for Calgary and other municipalities, publish how much they pay in compensation and these damages, so that society can begin to see the cost of such behavior, the cost of this systemic racism, the cost of denying people who are not white, most of the time, their rights, resources, and denying them representation. We need to see this cost. This cost should significantly go up so that society says, you know what, racism is too expensive. And like apartheid, we got to end it.
Thank you, Ben. That was a solid
I
statement.
want to see efforts in this direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Alphonse, coming to you, I just wanted to see what do you think about this, and where is the end to all this? And in your mind, do you have a strategic idea on how we deal with something like this?
But I completely agree with Ben. The only thing that will save us from this is dire consequences for those that are racist. That's the only thing we can do. And I'm not sure that marching or going to the government or so on will really change something. I'm not very sure about that. But how do we bring those consequences about? I think we still need to think about it. But the first thing that we also need to know is that, police brutality is just a symptom of a system.
Yeah.
It's a broader system than that. First of all, the police are being trained to kill. And that's in one way because we like to say that we are different from America. It's not true, really. Our policemen are trained to kill. And in America, they are also trained to kill. And that's why when a young boy will stood like that with the hand lifted like this, they will kill him anyway, because that's what they can do the best. Kill somebody, not protect necessarily, but kill. So I think it's broader than that. We need to look at how these people are being trained, what they are being told, how they are being asked to deal with this kind of thing. So there is also about training and education of these policemen. So it's a really something very broad, and just to what Jimmy was saying, we need to organize ourselves as Black people and Black leader and see how we can engage with the government and have a serious conversation around how to avoid these things. I agree with that. And it's no use pointing fingers like Jimmy is saying that when he was doing certain things, we were not around. That's not the way to go, really. It's just that let's organize ourselves and see how best we can engage with the government, what type of connection we can make in order to really talk about this.
So
Because
I'm
it's
sure that Jimmy is one of the people who has actually, moved things and done rallies and actually been there at different, events like this, which has happened in the past and stuff like that. And maybe you were not present, or maybe he didn't even see you. You might have been present. But when we have a meeting like this, we are trying to come to a conclusion on how this can be dealt with. And I really love how Ben and you have conceptualize this, because unless there is a cost to it, nothing moves out of the radar. Like it just stays there because they have so much to gain from what they're doing. I don't know in this situation what they had to gain by killing a poor innocent Black boy. I have no idea, and it's absolutely senseless, like Dr. Chris said. Um, so like it doesn't make any sense. So at this point,
I just want to tell you.
No,
Let me say something. There is the
you
brother
were
of the late
done.
is gonna be
Can we?
joining.
Can I just finish with the one circle before I get back to you again?
Oh, okay. The brother of
Thank
the
you.
late is joining.
So, Dr. Chris,
Yes,
my
sir.
question to you is how is it that you think this can be worked with the government and the police?
Okay, I just wanted to start by saying that our community truly needs to come together. That's a very valid point. But also, people should not sit in their corners and think that somebody else is not doing anything. That's very dangerous thinking. And that's a very dangerous approach. Look, each one of us here are involved in the community in various and different ways. And very many things happen in various parts of the community that affects Black people and indigenous people and and every other strata of the racialized groups, even professionally. And so people choose the niche of where they get more involved than the others, and they pay visit to the other areas. So the fact that you are in one space and somebody is not there does not mean that the person is not doing far more work than you're doing. We have to be clear about this. But coming together is a contingent factor. Now, back to your question, I think that engaging with the government starts with some kind of public awareness, especially within our ACB community. I'll tell you something. For instance, I don't know if everybody on this panel is aware that 2 days from now, there's going to be rallies about Matthias all across, Edmonton region. So the publicity for that event has gone out. I received it that on that day, go to the police station in your area, because the ACB community will be gathering there to make known our displeasure, both at the rate of with which the investigation is going, and in fact our displeasure about the senseless killing of our people at any given opportunity by the police.
Right.
Now, for somebody to now say, oh, we can't speak about it, we have to speak about it, for God's sake.
Yes.
And like Ben said, it is because Black South Africans kept speaking for 48 years that the situation got, the attention of the world. It's the same thing here. You can't, look, discrimination is real. It is very real. Racial discrimination is even worse. And then it is now systemic. It is actually systemic in nature. so that even algorithms are being written to exclude people from things in this country that we are living in 2024. So basically, there are a few things that needs to be spoken to whenever we have the attention of the government. The first one is that the police commission in every part of Alberta needs to be restructured to include ACB people at the decision-making levels, and it has to be substantial. The other thing is the fact that I am very uncomfortable with the situation where a white policeman shoots a black boy dead, and the white policeman is placed on suspension with pay, and is being paid with my tax-paying money, while the black family that lost the family is grieving, and I'm grieving. And when somebody says don't talk about it, look, the Nigerian community is a larger percentage of the people that live in the area where Matthias was killed. If you ask me on a normal day, I would say that probably that the Nigerian community was even the target of this policeman.
Oh.
I can say that. And nobody is going to dispute it so highly. Why? Because even after that particular shooting, all news reports kept saying, oh, the place is filled up by Nigerians. All news reports that I read. So why am I not going to talk about it? And that's something to talk to the government about, because you can't say that a certain set of people live somewhere, then they don't deserve the right every other person has. It's a delicate balance, but it is a major issue that we need to deal with. And I agree with Ben, I agree with Alphonse. What we need to do is stop thinking about what I do and what I don't do and how I do and how I don't do, and come together and be strategic about this. Because the system that the police uses, by trying to deny the thing, up till now, they haven't shown us the face or the name of the guy who shot this guy.
Wow.
We know that. We don't know him. So he could actually be shooting another person right now and we don't even know.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. Moving to Ahmed, is there something that you can quickly tell us about, what's the best way forward? Now, I know every one of you is doing different things to make this a big, to move this thing forward, because this should never happen in a community like this, it's not such a big community that, every day, every third day you get some black person's killing. It is so sad. So, Ahmed, is there something different from what the three of them said that you would like to share?
Well, yes. Even though I told the line of all three of them, I I also don't agree with Jim. I think some of us have been here for over almost going to 20 years, and we know what it was when we came up until now. There has been so many changes, but the changes is not enough. And like Ben said, you have to keep talking. But going back to what Dr. Chris was saying, and I think I had a discussion about this with somebody, I don't remember. We agree this is a systematic issue. We have to approach it systematically.
Exactly.
And systems do not change overnight.
Exactly.
Right? Now, we are talking about, okay, as an example, the St. Albert Further Ed Board that I'm the chair, I said has been in existence for 50 years. I am the first black person that will be the chair of that board.
Wow.
50 years. That tells you a lot. A lot of these things sometimes are not deliberate. It is just a situation. But we ourselves have to come together. We have to learn to integrate. That is one other thing that we have improved over the years, but we need to help ourselves. We need to get ourselves into position. If somebody has an advantage or a place where you can put one of us, we have too many qualified people, and that is what has been proven over and over again.
Yeah.
But if as a community we don't come together, or we think like the saying I always say, if you think your left hand is useless, cut it off, and then you would appreciate what the left hand does for you. So we have to understand that we all can't be in the same category and we all can't be doing the same thing. The
Yeah.
back has a role, the leg has a role, the hands have a role, the brain has a role, and we have to come together. But I have to emphasize this. We have to integrate into the system in this place. And by integration, it means that you join associations or clubs or NGOs or at work, plant yourself in there.
All right.
Get
Thanks so
in
much.
there
That
and
makes a
get the
lot of
work
sense.
and get the work done. And
Thank
that
you
is the
so
right
much,
way to go.
Ahmed. We are reaching towards the end of our program. So let me go to Jimmy because I know he wants to have the last word. Jimmy, can we have you now?
I just want to say thank you for Ms. Purple for organizing this meeting, and thank you for conducting it. We can say anything we want to say until tomorrow morning. But if we don't act according to our thoughts, we are just singing. I've been here 25 years. I am working currently as a South Sudanese community leader with all kind of the law enforcement. You can mention them, it's up to you. If one family member murdered a family member, we cannot destroy the whole family. A brother can kill a sister can kill a brother, or a mother can kill a father. We don't have to go. We need educated minds. It's not that, yeah. No, we have to take educated way of doing things. So South Sudanese community have been working with all the law enforcement, all the law enforcement for the last 5 years. So this murder happened. Is one police officer. We don't have to kill all the rest of the police officers. So all of you here tonight, anyone break to your door, I believe all of you are going to call 911. So let us talk what exactly is about what we want to do. We just don't want to make a noise. It doesn't make any sense.
Thank you
Sorry,
so much,
Mary.
Jimmy. Is there
Sorry,
anything
Mary.
else you need to
Demonstration,
say? Because I have to
Mary.
go to the last person here.
the
Mary, before you go to the last person,
demonstration is going to happen. We're going to call that demonstration. We will see if it's going
Sure.
to be the same. If it's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be the
important.
same,
Thank you.
if it's going to
Thank
be
you
the
for that.
same, yeah.
I look forward to seeing what
sorry,
this
Yeah.
demonstration
sorry, Mary,
leads to.
Mary.
Let me
I
go to
don't
this
think.
Again,
last person
the
who
brother of
joined
the
us.
late is here in the meeting. The brother
Jimmy,
of
you
the
will
late
have
here in
to
the
be
meeting.
quiet till I ask another person a question because
Sure.
now we are very close to the end of our program.
Yeah, no problem.
And who
Sorry,
is the new
Mary.
person who's
Mary.
joined us now?
Mary. Hello, Mary. Mary.
Who's speaking? I can't hear. I don't understand.
Ahmad. Ahmad.
Okay, I am. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't appreciate what Jimmy has just said, and it is unfortunate. We are not
Everybody has a
condemning.
right to
We
what they
are
have
not,
to say, right?
no. This is a public space. No, hold on, please. This is a streaming thing. You're streaming this. Nobody is saying you should shoot down or close down the whole police. Please, there is a
I, and you
if
cannot make
you
somebody
this
comprehend something that
exactly
you're trying to
you are putting things into our mouth as if we are condemning the police. We also work with the police, and I appreciate what they do. But to come and say this anyway, it's okay. I
so
just don't feel that should be said
Then
to
I'm so
anybody.
sorry about
I
that because
wasn't
you know
aware
as
that Jimmy
um,
is the police advocate. I thought
No, it can be
he
police
wanted
advocate, but
to say
not
something
to the
about
extent to make me
the
feel
community.
like I am
let
against the
me just go
police.
to the
I'm not.
family person from the family of Matthias. Is that who I have here?
Yes, there's a brother of the late comes after the late. He's on a
So
meeting.
what's your name? Abi?
Yeah, my name is Abi.
Okay, hi Abi, welcome to this program. You're giving us the last statement about the situation, which is really sad. And I'm so sorry that you couldn't come in before, so we could hear more from you, because we really want to know on the ground how the family is doing and what the family is, like dealing with right now.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a word in this streaming. There's one brother, what's his name? I think Dr. Chris.
Yeah.
Dr. Chris was saying something about we as black people integrating. That's a very important point right there. I will give you one story. As this family is like crying for their lost beloved one in our community, by the way, I'm from South Sudan. Some are pitching with this family, some are mocking this family secretly.
Hmm.
So, coming to integration, I moved to Canada 2020 from Austria. And in Austria, Austria is a country that has like different African backgrounds. And they don't look them, you are from South Sudan, you are from Somalia, you are from Eritrea. No. Once they meet, they are Africans. Finish. But since I arrived here in this Canada, especially Edmonton, the way I check African communities are like treating each other, and then I said, no, 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 no. Something is wrong somewhere. Big one. So if we talk of integration, what are we looking at here? We are looking at ourselves with Africans. We know we are from different countries or different background, cultural differences, tribes, mention it, name it, regional locations, name it. The thing here is like we sometimes bring our African home problems that are existing back in Africa, we put it here.
Yeah.
And we forgot ourselves that we are in a foreign land. In a foreign land, they say if you go a foreign land person, just know if they have been treating your ancestor or as a brother or a sister has been treated as a slave, an animal, make sure you're an animal. Find that your animal brother or a slave come together. Then the majority of you can overcome situations like this. It's really, really, really very unfortunate. And like
Yeah.
I can tell you, I went to NEET here in this their college. As an African person, any African that comes and is in that program, if there's any help I can render, I can render. Because I saw the challenges. It's not only these white people who are against us. This thing is a system that is set against any person who has African origin. I will pinpoint some countries. Check Filipino. Filipino will come here tomorrow. They are acting racist against you. An Indian man will arrive here, racist against you. A white man is racist against you. See, the target is not only uh, white people or whatever. It's like a very big system that is trying to like, if they can eliminate. I'm telling you, if this white race can swallow us, we cannot even see us like this on camera. Impossible. So based
Wow.
on integration, if like these community leaders can really set a system that says, okay, let's forget our differences, whether country
Hmm.
or tribe, we set an African system. In case a family like this runs into an issue like what we are facing right now, how do we approach it? But like it's completely different. It's different. Like it's so embarrassing sometimes. But I cannot escape. I cannot deny my face. I'm one of them. This thing that happened to this family could be you,
Yeah.
could be me tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people tend to like undermine things.
So
So
I
this is
heard
a
a lot
wake
of
up
things
call.
from
It's
each
a
one of
very
you. Let
big
me
wake
stop
up
you
call.
here because we are at the end of our show today.
No worries.
I really want to thank each and every one of you. This is a very difficult conversation we had. And I just want to highlight some of the points that came through. I'm really glad for certain things that each of you have said. So I'm just going to make a snapshot of everything that I heard that is really important to underline. One is what Ben said about, you know, people should remember that every person is different and they will do different things based on their capacities and skills and abilities, and it doesn't matter. Going for a rally is not the only thing that can be done in this situation. You can do many things, and talking is very important. Remember the apartheid, it went on for 48 years, and they did not just change their mind one day. They just did it because everybody was continuing to talk about it. So let's continue to talk about these things. Let's do the rally, as Mr. Jimmy was saying, as Alphonse was saying. All the organizations need to touch base with different elements of the government to see how we can make a policy change in the way that the police is getting trained, to find out whether there are any elements in there which can help them to be more caring and compassionate to people instead of being violent. Um, Ahmed told us about how we need to integrate. Many of us don't integrate. We just wear our own cultural costumes and we behave differently because we're African. Um, we need to integrate so that people will consider us worthy of leadership roles. And that's what he has done. And I'm so glad that, people like that will bring change by making policy changes. Thank you, Dr. Chris, for also sharing how you have, worked with different organizations to move the needle forward. And everybody doesn't need to be on the ground. Thank you, AB, for sharing your family perspective about what the family is going through, and also realizing that Africans shouldn't bring their tribal and individual country problems into Canada. We need to work together as an African community within this place that we have all decided to call home, and we need to come together and address issues here for our brothers here. And I really, really thank each one of you, because everybody brought such a different perspective to this big question that we're dealing with. I'm so grateful for this conversation, and I hope and pray that the rally and everything that all of you are doing will come to fruition one day, so that one day we will not see things like this happen in our community. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good
Maybe
evening.
may I say one thing?
Condolences once again